March. March is really the dullest season as far as the world of classical music and dance in the city of Chennai is concerned. You hardly have any concerts taking place in the Sabha halls. But in March 2020, life turned upside down. That was the time in late March when the dreaded coronavirus set in, not just in Madras, Chennai, but across the country in India. And the music and the dance came to a halt. When the pandemic set in, the shutdown began. And nobody was talking about music and dance because everything was shut down and things were getting bad. More and more people were falling ill, more and more people were being rushed to hospitals, and there were a significant number of deaths that were taking place. April and May continued this way. No music, no dance at all. But in 2020, end July, or probably early August, slowly, here and there, artists who were restricted to homes began to put out music, put out dance lessons to engage an audience, to engage rasikas, to engage students. Artists began to turn to the technology that was in their homes. There were more and more workshops now, even daily lessons in music and dance. And slowly, even rasikas who were often seen at the Sabha halls every other evening in places like Mylapore and Mambalam, now could get everything online. A start was being made, even as there was some good news in the reduction of the coronavirus cases. Mid-August, and in the routine of things, this would have been the time for the Sabha to announce their schedules, to make preparations for the great December season. The Music Academy went ahead and said that it had decided to have the festival, but a virtual music festival. No dance, no award of the Sangeeta Kalanidhi and other awards, and no conference. This was going to be a completely different kind of season. Other sabhas had to make their plans too. And quickly, the major sabhas in the city of Chennai, which belong to a federation of city sabhas, also decided that theirs would be a joint virtual music, dance and drama festival. The long one is what they decided to host in December. The Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, which usually starts off with its annual festival in mid-November and draws a huge audience to its auditorium in Mylapore, announced that it was going to have a real festival, not a virtual one. And it also drew up a schedule featuring some of the best-known artists around. The Bhavans decided to have its festival in the open air at a school campus in Kilpauk that it manages, not at the indoor auditorium because it had to follow regulations, pandemic time regulations. Some people sniggered at the idea, but the Bhavan said that it would go ahead with its festival. It was a time when the lockdowns had been taken off, but there was still a good number of cases being reported in the city. Seniors were indoors and people were quite afraid, still living in fear, and yet going about their daily life the way it should be. Very soon, a few other organizations which promotes music and dance, Carnatic music and dance, also put out their schedules, all virtual festivals. Like Madrasana, which pioneered the idea of having kacheris in a smart cinema theatre hall with high-tech aids to enhance the experience. And then there was Charsoor, which is into the music label, music promotion business, which announced a 15-day virtual concerts featuring some of the best talent around. Of course, all these had to be paid for. But online, there was one should say there was a blitz, a publicity blitz that was taking place. And all this was being music, fresh music that you had to pay for. It was also a time when the Federation of City Sabhas, remember, they called the festival Yours Truly Margari. Now, it got going in collaboration with Kala Kendra. It began to record the concerts at 3 different venues across the city. They set up grand stage deco, lit it up well, and had multi-cameras recording these concerts, which they would put out in December. The Music Academy began to record all its concerts by artists it had scheduled for its virtual festival for December at its main auditorium. And elsewhere, small arts promotion organizations began to host concerts to which a few rasikas were allowed to come in and enjoy the music. Nada Inbam, which is based at the very popular Ragasudha Hall in Luz, did that. And then RK Center in Luz also did this. And finally, you had garden ambience concerts taking place, hosted by Sunada Lahari in Alwarpet. But this was like a fresh air, a whiff of fresh air, shall we say, for Rasikas who had had enough online. There was always music online, but here was an opportunity in Alwarpet to step in, of course, follow the regulations of the pandemic, and listen to artists live. One of them was Palghat Ramprasad. Things had begun to change a little differently in early November. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's live festival opened in the Kilpauk campus to a very grand opening. The Tamil Nadu governor was the chief guest. There were about 75 to 100 Rasikas and guests at that opening concert by Sudha Raghunathan. The team of the Bhavans put in all the infrastructure that was required and followed the regulations. But one must admit that the response from Rasikas was rather muted. A good effort, and it was worth doing it. And some of the concerts were webcast live. By now, every arts organization seemed to have been caught by the virtual music route, shall we say. Tamalisai Sangam, which holds its festival at Rajanamalai Mandram in the northern side of the city of Chennai, quickly began to promote its own festival. It had some wonderful artists like Sanjay Subramaniam, who was a regular feature there. And these concerts were also priced. People could access them only when they registered and paid for them. But the buzz was missing at some of the small halls, which in the normal season would have been packed with concerts, which would have been signed by a whole load of new for the season kind of organizers. Take for example Shastri Hall, which is a great place to listen to music in Luz, firmly shut down. And even the auditoriums of the Sabhas, whether it was Mylapore Fine Arts or Nardagana Sabha or RR Sabha, all these auditoriums had to remain shut to follow pandemic regulations. The state government had not given permission to theatres and auditoriums to allow people to attend in large numbers. So, a marked difference from the regular December season buzz that you would have got to feel if you were here in December. But out in Kalakshetra in the south side of the city went ahead and announced its 67th art festival. It had its music, dance, and the famed dance productions of the Kalakshetra repertoire, starting with Andal Charitram. The unique feature of this festival was the fact that Kalakshetra allowed 80 to 90 Rasikas to buy tickets and be at the auditorium to watch the concerts. But it also webcast these concerts for a fee. So you could access them live, sitting at home, by paying a small fee. Perhaps Kalakshetra was the only place, a campus, which really carried the flavors and the buzz of the December season that we are all used to. The color, the sounds, the welcome, the decor was brand Kalakshetra.
Kalakshetra Foundation is very happy to present the 67th annual Arts Festival this year. This year, because of the COVID, we are doing live streaming of the event which is ticketed, and also we're having about 80 in-person viewing, and it has been a very great experience. Yesterday, when we started off with the inauguration and Andar Charitram, we look forward to the support of all the Rasikas and all the art connoisseurs. Keeping in mind the standard operating procedures of the government, we have a temperature check which has been kept outside, and the noting down of the phone numbers of those Rasikas who are coming in, and we are also having them giving them sanitizers, and the social distancing is maintained in the seating arrangements. All these are special features which we have done, and we have seen to it that there are not more than about 150 to 160 audience in the auditorium. The number of people have been restricted to a very great extent, and we are live streaming the event for the benefit of other viewers.
Now that Chennai was hosting virtually a virtual December season, save for the odd live festivals, the canteens couldn't really go virtual. Now, canteens are an essential and integral part of the season. You listen to music, watch dance, and then retire to these canteens where caterers, the best known caterers, offer the best food, and it's not just the Rasikas, but people from across the city who dig into this food. But the catering could not go virtual. One caterer, though, Shasta, decided that life had to go on and set up the canteen at the Mylapore Fine Arts Club. He had over 100 dishes, ran it for about a fortnight, and had a fairly decent response. It was a time when the virus cases had fallen. Life was almost a new normal, shall we say, and it was a nice way to close December. Towards the fag end of December, RR Sabha in Mylapore opened its doors to its own festival of music and dance. But the response was again muted. 40, 50 people attending concerts, and seniors preferring to stay away. The coronavirus was ebbing, cases were less, life had become, shall we say, a new normal. But this was a December season, a rare December season, where musicians, artists, organizers, and Rasikas really didn't give up, because they all went virtual.